Hey, hi everyone. Good morning.
Starting.
Hey, good morning, Raj. Yeah, just let me wait for a few minutes. If there are any late joiners, they can join. Okay, let me start sharing my screen. Okay, so yesterday we were discussing about the basic Spark overview, just the what is Spark and so how does it function on very high level, very high level. Like it processes things in memory. And that's how it gets that much speed. And we talked about the components inside Spark, like Spark native, Spark SQL, Spark streaming, and MLlib, and different languages it interacts with, and few other basic points about it. So, out of the programming ways with Spark, so we have different languages that we have seen yesterday. It's Java, Scala, and Python, and R. R is with R you cannot perform all the types of operations. This is mainly intended for data engineering part. Data science part, only for analytical purposes. Only those use cases can be solved with this. Okay. So you can eliminate this. Out of the available three languages, data engineering part. So in reality, you will see so 80% of the cases or 70 to 80% of the cases minimum, you will find it like Scala is the most popular combination that is being used with Spark. And Python is the next, the second option goes to Python because Python is easier than Java. So with Java, you might see very less opportunities to work with Spark. So that's where we ended up in taking that Scala course as well into this. Now, So Scala being one of the high-level programming language, this in turn, like, so if you see here, so it combines the features of both Python and Java. So Python is a functional-oriented language, functional programming language. And this is object-oriented language. Oops. The Scala takes the advantages of both. Both functional and oops. And it makes your coding very crispy and very small enough. The number of lines of code will be very less when compared to other languages.
Hare, 15 pay number.
Okay, I'm keeping you on mute, Subbu. Okay. Yeah. So this is also built on top of the JVM. So which means its prerequisite for Scala is Java. So anything that you code in Scala will finally get executed on the Java virtual machine. So it supports both object-oriented features and as well as functional programming features. Similar to your Java, this is also statically typed. So what is mean by statically typed? I'll show some examples during declaration of some variables. Or in short, in one line, statically typed means once you declare any variable in your program, which is of a particular type, let's say string. So you have declared a variable with data type as string, and you cannot allocate a variable of different data type to it. So a string variable can accept only strings. You cannot assign long numbers or float numbers to the string data type. So that is called as statically typed. Hello, Manohar. Yeah. Okay, no problem. Okay. And since it runs on top of the Java, on Java virtual machine, so this one also almost same speed as Java, but some people might be under impression that Scala is high level language than Java, and some people think that Scala might run faster, or if people are assuming that Scala compilation will take a lot of time, sometimes people might think that Scala might be a little slow than Java also. But performance point of view, with respect to execution speed, this is almost equal, almost. So there might be a difference in milliseconds or microseconds, but if the same functionality is implemented in Java, and the same functionality is written in Scala. Of course, the amount of efficiency that you take both the programming languages is around the same, then you will get the speed also around the same. It is not because of speed of Scala we are not migrating to Scala. So people are not migrating to Scala just because of its speed. Okay, it's because of its features and user friendliness and programmer friendliness, ease of coding. And one good thing is that very useful thing in real time, since it has built to run on JVM, it interoperates with very well with Java. So which means you can call your Java programs from Scala, and similarly you can call your Scala programs from Java. You can call Java from Scala. Let's say you have some functionality in Scala. So from Scala, you can call Java methods and Java objects. And similarly, if you are into a Java project, you can call Scala methods. So both the ways it's possible. This is very helpful in real time. So I'll show you some examples how this interoperation works. Yeah. So this Scala programming language was designed by Martin Odersky at EPFL, almost like 15, 17 years back. And it started in 2001. So first public release happened in 2014. And at that time, Scala was supported both on Java platform, which means on JVM, and as well as it had its support for .NET as well. But later, starting from 2012, they officially dropped the support for .NET, and they are now supporting only Java platform, which means you can run your Scala programs only on JVM. And similar to our Java programming language owned by Oracle, so now the people from Martin Odersky, they started, they launched another company called TypeSafe. So that's where you will see a lot of messages coming on the name of TypeSafe when you are opening Scala shell, or when you are running any Scala programs and these things. Okay, and the TypeSafe is one of the commercial supporter also for any issues from Scala programming language. The way people go to Cloudera, Hortonworks for Hadoop enterprise support, the companies will go to TypeSafe if they face any issues in Scala programming language. Similar to companies reach Oracle for Java support, right? So of course you will have Java developers, Java programmers, and if anything that is beyond in your limits and you need some fix in Java programming language itself, so one should reach Oracle. And similarly here, that role takes by this TypeSafe. Okay, so why should we go for Scala? So what is Scala REPL? Scala REPL is nothing but it's a shell only. It's kind of, it has some acronym, REPL means, which is nothing but a shell. Just you can execute your Scala programming, Scala commands in that. I'll show that, okay? So, so one thing, mainly because of its clean and concise code, which means, so in layman terms, so 100 lines of Java code can be achieved within 10 to 20 lines of code in Scala sometimes. And its ability to support both functional programming features and OOPS concepts at the same time from the same language. And mainly it is best fit for distributed applications. Hey, sorry, I think there was is my voice audible now? Okay. So Scala best fits for distributed applications, which is something like Spark and Hadoop. So that's where the Scala programming language, the Spark and Kafka and few other distributed processing applications, the applications itself are written in Scala. Okay, and some key features so that for Scala are like the same. So it runs on JVM, and similar to your Java. So if you write any .java programs, if you compile them, so let's say you have the source.java will get compiled into source.class file. So this .class file or bytecode will be executed on JVM, and this will produce the results. And similarly, Scala will have, and this will also on compilation, this will also produce source.class file, and this will also run on your JVM. So it means only till the compilation only your Scala differs, and once the code is compiled, so it's your bytecode will get executed same as your Java. That is the reason with respect to performance, both are same. It's just nothing but similar kind of bytecode execution on the JVM, and both of them will get executed on JVM. Yes, obviously, that's what I was conveying in the previous slide. So it's not the speed, it's just the lines of code and the more features that you will get, and easiness in developing. Okay, and mainly when you are writing for distributed applications, so maintaining that concurrency and synchronization of variables and all these things in Java, that is kind of bit complex in Java, and which is very easy in Scala. So in other words, in simple terms, if I have to give you this comparison, so if you take Java and Scala, This is, if you consider Java similar to MapReduce, you can think Scala as pig. So if you are aware of MapReduce and pig, so whatever you write MapReduce, that will get executed as the MapReduce jobs. But when it comes to pig, so only the number of lines of code will get decreased, and it becomes very easy for the developer to write the pig scripts. But in turn, this pig will also get converted into MapReduce jobs, and MapReduce jobs will get executed. So performance-wise, you will not get any difference whether you go with MapReduce or whether you go with pig. But still, so whatever the use cases that are all possible with pig, people will prefer to go with pig. And so that's how similarly you can compare with Java and Scala. So from performance-wise, you don't see any difference. And from programmer flexibility and easy code maintenance. So obviously, if there are 10,000 lines in this, only 1,000 lines in this. So maintaining 1,000 lines of code will become easier, right? So you will have less amount of changes, less amount of support you need. So that way. So even Scala runs on JVM and compiles to Java bytecode, which is nothing but the .class files. And that's the reason. So we can use Java classes in Scala and Scala classes in Java. And it supports all the functional programming features from Python language. So if you are coming from Python, so you might have seen some programming language features like type inference, immutability, some lambda expressions, and all these things. Of course, some of them are introduced in Java 8 also. But still, the Scala is more popular in supporting these things. So Scala is more pure object-oriented than Java. So in Java, you will see the primitive data types, but in Scala, you will not find them. I'll show like what is primitive and what is non-primitive. Everything in Scala is object only. Okay, so maybe if people coming from non-Java background will not understand when I talk in terms of object and some other terminology for now, but I'll defer those things for now. I'll first start with the functional programming features, which are very simple ones, and later the OOPS concepts and object-related concepts we'll talk about in the second part of the course in Scala. Okay, and these are all nothing major points here. So in Java, you see every line ends with a semicolon, but in Scala, semicolons are optional. And in some cases, the dot parameter is also the dot operator. So on a method, if you want to call something like s1 dot equals of s2, if you want to call this in Java, so you have to provide dot equals of s2 like this. But in Scala, you can write very well like s1 equals s2. The dot and even the parenthesis are optional sometimes. Okay, so before entering into the actual Scala programming, coding. So let's first see how to install it and how to set up so that you can get started with your practicing. Okay. So for installing, there are different ways to install it. So most of you might be having the Windows laptops, Windows or Mac. Or if you want to get them installed on your Quick Start VMs, even that steps I'll show you. So by default, your Quick Start VM gets Spark and Scala installed. So you don't need to do any special process for that. But first, I'll help you in showing the Quick Start VM setup on your machines, because there are few folks requested me on that process as well. The simplest way to get started with your practicing of Scala and Spark, just download any Quick Start VM virtual machine. It could be from Cloudera or Hortonworks, whatever it is. But my recommendation would be with Cloudera Quick Start VM. Cloudera Quick Start VM, the latest version. Okay, seems like the latest one is 5.8 only still. So just select the latest one that is available, 5.8, and select a platform, which means, so what type of virtual machine software that you have on your laptops. So if you don't have anything, so download either VMware or VirtualBox. So download it for VMware or VirtualBox. So once you download this, in order to load this, you need that VMware software. Okay. So just fill in your details. Any dummy details would also do. Like you can fill your details and just click on continue. So you'll get a download link. Okay. So once you download that, generally that will be around 6 GB, 5 to 6 GB. So it will take considerable amount of time. Okay. Let me show you something. So these were some of my old VMware editions, Quick Start VM 5.4 version, and 5.4.2, 5.3, 5.5, 5.7. And similarly, if you download that, so you will get this kind of zip file. So Cloudera Quick Start VM 5.8.0, so vmware.zip. So if you unzip this, just extract here, and you will find folder like this. So Cloudera Quick Start VM, so 5.7.0. Inside this, you will see lots of files in it. Okay. But so if you download one another software, VMware Workstation, that is this one, VMware Workstation full. So if you have any trouble in downloading these things, so I can upload somewhere and I can give the links to it. Okay, just I'll upload to some Google Drive, or I'll share that location to you. Okay, so first thing you have to do is download this VMware Workstation if it is your Windows laptop. Otherwise, VMware Fusion, I think. So VMware Fusion is for Mac. Just download the latest version and install it. This is regular to any other regular Windows application only. Just follow next. That's it. And once this is installed, you'll find some shortcut link like this. In the home page, let's say, so in the very beginning, you will see this kind of page. You'll not see anything on my computer. Something like this you'll see very big. And now you have downloaded the .zip file, Cloudera Quick Start VM, this zip file, and extracted it to this folder. Now go to your Quick Start VM, open a virtual machine, but not the create a new virtual machine. You are not going to create a new virtual machine. You are going to use an existing virtual machine that was downloaded from Cloudera's website. Okay, so open a virtual machine, just browse to that folder location. Just take, let me see. So come down to here, and there will be only one file that will be selectable in this folder. So when you browse through this VMware Workstation, select that file and open it. Okay, so you can see here 5.7, and based on the RAM memory available on your machines, so if you have 8 GB RAM, try to allocate at least 4 GB for this. Just okay, and if you have i5 or i7 processors, at least you can allocate 2 cores, processor cores. So number of cores per processor that you are going to allocate for your virtual machine, and how much hard disk space that you are going to allocate for this. And once this is done, you can power on this virtual machine. So this will open a CentOS operating system where all your Hadoop related stuff, everything got installed, configured, integrated, everything. But only issue that you might be facing is, so if you don't have enough RAM memory on your laptop, you'll see this might be very, very slow. So this might respond a bit slowly. Okay, so let this get loaded. So meanwhile, I'm trying to load it from my another machine as well. Okay, so for the first time, it takes a very long time. Okay, so let it take its own time, and we'll come back to it. So this is the first option that one can go for. So download Cloudera Quick Start VM latest version and VMware Workstation and Cloudera Quick Start VM latest version, and install the VMware Workstation and open this Quick Start VM from Workstation, and that's it. Okay, so it opens up a setup, already pre-set up operating system for you, so where you can practice. Okay, but for practicing Scala, similar to your Java, Scala is also platform independent, which means you can run on any operating system, either on Windows or Linux, or it doesn't matter. The results will not differ. Same like your Java. So you can install on your, if you are just practicing the Scala, you can just continue practicing on your Windows laptops itself, on Windows itself. Okay, so to do that, just download the Scala from Scala. So go for Scala downloads. But here, before you select the Scala subversion, like, so the latest that you can see is Scala 2.12.1, but will not be using this, the latest Scala release. So either you need to go with 2.11.8 max, or the min Scala version that you should be preferring with Scala.10. Some subversion from it. So mostly Scala.2.5 is a more stable version integrated with your Spark up to 1.5 releases. Okay, so when you are choosing the Scala versions, Scala and Spark versions, so you have to decide based on the Spark version that you have. Okay, so if you choose to download the VMware Workstation, you don't need to worry about these version integrations, but that is for your practicing only. But in your real time, of course, you have to set up your Scala on your Windows you have to install on your local machine only, and you have to connect to your Spark that is set up on your cluster. Okay, so you cannot use your Quick Start VM in real time. So your Quick Start VM is just for practicing until you get a chance to work on your real cluster. So that's the reason why you should be aware of both the Windows installations as well. So here Spark versions, for every Spark version, each Spark version is compiled with 2 Scala subversions. So Spark release you will find both with Scala 2.10 and 2.11. So you can find that it's getting almost hanged. Just give me a second, it's getting hanged. Okay, and so let me close some unused applications here. So meanwhile, I'm trying to start one from a different machine as well. Just give me. So in this machine, I have only 8 GB RAM, out of which 4 I have allocated to Quickstart VM, and with remaining 4, it's getting stuck. Okay, just let me bear with it. Okay. So I closed all unused applications at this moment. So let's see. So once it comes back. Yeah. So meanwhile, I'll show the different Spark. Yeah. So here you can see the latest Spark release. So which was released on December 28, 2016. So 4 months ago. So you can start using with anything around 2.0 or 2.0.1. Most of the time, if you are immediately placed into work, you will not find this Spark 2.0 or 2.1. So you might find up to 1.6 or maybe in R&D environments, research and development environments, or low-level development environments, you might see 2.0. But in the higher environments, you'll find in your real clusters up to 1.6 or 1.5. Okay. So if you see that your Quickstart VM version is out of this, either you can download that particular version, or based on your cluster Spark version that you have, once you put into project, so you observe the Spark version that is installed on your cluster. So if it is 2.0, select, and what is your Hadoop version? Your Hadoop version is, you can check in your cluster. So whether it's 2.7 or 2.6 or whatever it is. Okay. So just select the direct download and just download the Spark. Okay. So when you are downloading the Spark, your Spark comes with 2 Scala versions, like, or if you are using this dependencies in your projects, Maven dependencies, either you can go with the Spark-core underscore 2.11. This 2.11 represents the Scala version. The Spark core is compiled with Scala 2.11 version. Actual Spark version is 2.1.0, and the underlying Scala version is 2.11. So either you should prefer 2.11 or 2.10. So why I am stressing this much on these versions is you will literally spend hours and hours if you don't choose the right versions. And if you mess up with versions, sometimes you had to spend some hours and hours and you will not get any clue. Okay. So my recommendation is to, if you are building any project, so just take this Maven dependencies. Anyway, I'll show these things in our once we are building our Spark applications. But for now, so I'm recommending you to get started with your Scala version of 2.10.5. Okay, Scala 2.10.5 up to Spark version of 1.5. So in your cluster, let's say in your real cluster, Spark version is less than or equal to 1.5.1 or so. So then go for Scala version of 2.10. If your Spark version is greater than 1.6. So 1.6.0. Then go for 2.11.7. This one either 10.5 or 10.6. I'm very specific about these versions. You'll really face lots of issues when integrating with your. So if you are just running pure Scala application, you'll not see any issue with any version. But when you are using the Spark APIs in your Scala programming, obviously the versions compatibility matters. That's the reason why I'm stressing this much. Okay. For now, so let's say, so you download Scala 10.5. Okay. Based on the operating system that you have opened this link. So by default, it suggests which one can be downloaded for you. Okay. So if you are opening this link from the Windows, it downloads a .msi file, Microsoft installer file. So once you download this and just install like any other Windows application, so you don't need to do anything special. Just click next, next, next. But once the installation is completed, so one thing that you need to do is, so once this installation is complete, you'll find that somewhere in the program files. So program files and 86. Yeah, you can see Scala here. So take this location, path location, go to environment variables. So edit the system environment variables from control panel. So I hope you guys are following up with me. Everyone is so silent. Okay. Okay, thanks. So one thing that I want you to do is, so take that path and add it to the path environment variable here. So you can see here path system variables. So in this, you will find our Scala as well. See, the Scala I have already added it. Okay, so in your case, just edit or make a new entry, just paste that property there. Paste that path there. So that means your Scala bin directory is also got added into the path environment variable, so that your Scala related commands will be recognized from your command prompt. So now open up your command prompt. Once that path is added to your environment variables, open up your command prompt and type Scala. You should see a Scala shell being opened for you. Yes, this is called a Scala REPL. Okay. Why it's taking this much time? Because of this. Yeah. Yes, yes. I'll show you all those things, Raj Kamal. Just bear with me. That's it. Okay. Just let me come in sequence. Okay, this is not responding that easily. Okay, so I'll leave this until it gets open. Yeah, since I have limited RAM memory on this, I have to wait until these commands get respond to me. Install Scala. Okay, so it has opened the Scala shell for you. So welcome to Scala version 2.11.7. So as I was telling, like these are the popular ones, like 2.11.7 is the subversion that you should be choosing for stable versions under 2.11, and under 2.10, so you'll find 10.5 as the more stable. And even though you have lot many versions here, so I would recommend only these two. So 2.10.5 and 2.11.7. Okay. So you can just start typing 1 plus 2. So it gave me results. So that means this is just to test whether your Scala shell is working fine or not. So the underlying Java version it is using from my machine is Java 1.7.0.0_79. Okay. So you will face issues in working with Scala shell if you don't have Java installed already. When I say Java, it is not JRE. You should have installed JDK at least 1.7. The minimum required JDK version for Scala is starting from JDK 1.7. Okay, so in any one of your machines, if you don't have Java installed already, so download the JDK 1.7. And even in that, my recommendation is to install JDK 1.7 only, not the 1.8. So you will find corresponding Java versions 1.7 dot some any subversion. You will find 1.8 also, JDK 1.8 is also there, but sometimes you might see some version issues with 1.8. So especially if you have 1.8 on your Windows, whereas in most of the real-time clusters, at least with my clients that I work with, the versions that I observed in real-time clusters are 1.7 only, not 1.8. So that means in your Windows you have Java 1.8, but on your clusters, if you have Java 1.7, so you will see some exceptions rising, major, minor versions issues. So you have compiled on higher version, trying to execute on lower version, you will again end up in issues. So for that reason, I would recommend you to install JDK 1.7 only. So if you compile on 1.7, that will run on 1.8 also without any issues if you have 1.8 on your cluster by any chance. Okay, so for that reason, I would recommend you to stick to one version combination, that is JDK 1.7. Under that, any subversion is fine for me. And Scala versions either 2.10.5 or 2.11.7 based on your Spark versions. So if you are going with Scala 2.11.7, so you have to, only you should go if you have Spark version greater than 1.6 on your cluster. Okay. So for now, you just stick to Scala version 2.11.7 and Java version 1.7. So first you need to install Java first. And Java installation is also more or less similar to your Scala only. Just go to Oracle downloads page, Java downloads page, download the JDK 1.7, and environment variables you have to set up for that also. Let's say your Java is installed in, so your Java got installed in, so C drive program files under Java. So I have different versions of JDKs, but out of which this one I'm taking JDK 1.7.0. So I'll take this path. So go to environment variables and the same path. See, the same JDK path I have added to this path environment variable. Yes. So Java 1.7 works with Scala 2.11.7 without any issues. Okay. So in your Windows, for your setup, the first thing, very first thing, so if you don't have Java, so first thing that you need to do is download JDK 1.7 and install and set up, update the path environment variable with your Java location. Okay. So if you have any doubts, just refer to this video once again and see till what level the paths I'm adding into this. Okay. Just take this bin directory and add it to the path environment variable. And similarly, the Scala also. So my Java got installed into program files and Scala got installed into program files 86. So just take the Scala bin directory, add that one also, and then see, and then open your Scala command from your command prompt. It should open up your Scala shell. Okay, so Control D is to quit from your Scala shell. So what if you had JDK 1.8 already installed? No problem, we can have JDK 1.7 also in parallel to it. The way I have multiple versions, you see here, right? So JDK 1.7 and JDK 1.8. So both of them are there in my machine. Okay. So only thing is, first if it is not allowing you to install 1.7 when you already had 1.8, so try uninstalling 1.8 first and then install 1.7 and again reinstall your 1.8 also on top of it. Okay. And set up 1.7.0. Whatever the 1.7 subversion into your path environment variable. Okay. So try with 1.8 also. So if you don't face any issues, that's fine. So if you face issues, definitely. So obviously you should go for 64-bit editions only. Yes. Okay. So obviously both of them should be 64-bit editions only. So any confusions? Many people are so silent. Almost all are silent. So any confusions here with this many versions and this many softwares? This is all one-time setup. You don't need to get worried. And this is just your local setup. Okay. What about others? Okay. So once again, to make it clear, so I'm just summarizing the points. Just download the JDK 1.7 and install it and update the path environment variable. Okay, with JDK bin folder. And similarly, download Scala 2.11.7 and do the same thing. Update the path environment variable with Scala bin folder. So now open Scala shell from command prompt and try practicing. Okay. So this is the simplest way to get started with. And you can write your Scala programs, so any simple Scala program with .scala extension and compile them and execute them from your command prompt. But in real time, nobody does practicing from Scala. Same like your Java. So programmers can do their practicing by writing their Java code into any notepad, using any notepad++ with the .java extension and compile them from command prompt and execute those .class files from the command prompt. But nobody does that in real time. So everyone uses the advanced IDEs, integrated development environments, something like Eclipse or IntelliJ, these things. But for Scala, IntelliJ IDEs, I don't think you have much support for that IntelliJ. But from Eclipse, so you have Scala IDE download. So this is the link where you can download Scala IDE, which is Eclipse. Okay. So under this link, download it for Windows 64-bit. So you will see your Eclipse being downloaded. So the latest Eclipse Neon is the latest version, or 4.5.0 is the version that you get from here. Okay. So just select the latest ones as is. So once you get that Scala IDE 4 dot under apps, I have placed that. This is the Scala SDK 4.5.5 that I extracted. This is the zip file that got downloaded just last night. 4.5. Just extracted it in Eclipse. Just create a shortcut of this .exe onto your desktop. All this setup is needed both for your practicing and as well as your real-time working also. So just create a desktop shortcut so that you will get this kind of shortcut there. Okay. So I'm not opening this Eclipse at this moment. My laptop will get hanged because of too many applications already open here. Okay. So then you can practice in Scala Eclipse IDE. Okay. Let me put a pause till here on Eclipse. So since the quick start VM has come up, so let me show you this for a few minutes. Okay. Let me close this. So in your quick start VM, so this installations will taken care by administrators. Not sure, like it depends on your organization. So they give you plain laptop, and if they ask you to get things set up by yourself, obviously you have to do all this thing. In at least in my case, in our company, we do installations on our own. This is your local setup. Okay. So if it is cluster setup, of course, administrators will do. Since all this is your local machine setup, I don't think so. Unless until any typical level 5 companies where they go, where they will have lots of restrictions that you don't have permissions to download anything, you don't have permissions to install anything. So there you will end up getting these things done by administrator. Otherwise, a cluster setup anyways, that's purely the administrator job. But whatever we have discussed so far is not cluster setup. This is all your local setup. Okay. So for time being, if you want to get rid of all these setups, integrations, Java setup, and Scala installation and Spark integration, all these things, you want to get rid of all these things for time being, and you want to get immediately start with practicing. So just the simple 2 steps: download the VMware workstation and install it, and download Quick Start VM latest version, and open this Quick Start VM from workstation. So this has opened this for me. Okay, so when I clicked on the shell terminal, so you could see this terminal being opened for me, and on this spark-shell, just open this command, so it opens up Scala shell for you. Scala integrated with Spark, that shell opens up for you, and you can start practicing your Scala code snippet in this as well. It's getting loaded.
Shiva, Vijay.
Yes, Vijay.
What is the command you gave here? Because for a little while it became blank for us, and again it is okay now.
Oh,
but
Spark-shell.
Spark-shell, right?
Yes, Spark-shell.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Vijay. At least you are asking. Otherwise, I'm sometimes I'm getting doubt that am I speaking with wall? Nobody's talking to me. So, Subbu, I have, what did you give at prompt? Yeah, Spark-shell. So I have Spark, Scala, and IntelliJ IDE installation in my laptop. I have SPT2. Okay, no problem. So you can continue with that as well. But anyway, the SBT and Maven, both of those build tools, I'll explain as part of the course itself. So don't worry about them. So install your Spark on your local Mac OS, Subbu. No, how did you, I mean, in your local or in your VM, virtual box? So inside your virtual box, so you have your Cloudera Quickstart VM. And where did you install your Spark? Is it in virtual box or in local Mac? See, it's using Spark 1.6.0 and Scala version 2.10.5 that is set up on this Quickstart VM. So once the Scala prompt opens up for you, you can start. Okay, so just the same 2.3. The same practicing, you can do it from here also. Okay. Okay. So for now, I'm just suspending this Quickstart VM. So I'm done with this. Let me show you the IDE part. Okay. Yes, in your Cloudera Quickstart VM, you have Eclipse also. You can use that. Excuse me. So you have Eclipse also, but whatever the Eclipse that ships with your Quickstart VM, this Eclipse is for J2W mainly, so Java and Java W, JW. For Eclipse for Scala, you still need to download the Scala IDE for Eclipse, and for Scala you still need to download this one. Open this link from your Quickstart VM. So open the browser. Just from here, if you open, you will get your Linux compatible download and extract it and just create some shortcut to it. That's it. Okay. So Eclipse, you don't need to install, just download and extract and start using it. Okay, so now, so let me close this, otherwise I cannot open my Eclipse in Windows.
Hey, Shiva Jyoti here. Sorry, I was typing on my chat also. In the Cloudera VM, the versions are different between Scala and Spark, right? Than the one that you recommended.
It's 1.6, right? So these two are stable versions only, like 2.10.5 and 2.11.7.
Right.
As long as there is no issues in this, that should be fine. Like
Okay.
sometimes, yeah, it 1.6 with 2.10.5 you have seen here, right, in the shell.
Right.
Yep. So yeah, that should be fine, I think, even for this combination. But generally, this is how the basic fundamental that we follow. Like anything 1.6 and above, we go with 2.11. So this is for Quickstart VM. I think he's not facing any issues.
And there were also a lot of warnings, right, in that.
These warnings, you don't need to worry much about these things, even in real time. Like so, you'll see this. If your Spark cluster is not set up properly, not configured properly, you'll see this many things. Okay, and as long as you are not an administrator, you don't need to worry about these things. For time being, so if they work for you in local, that should be fine. But when you go to real cluster, this is all your administrator's headache. Okay.
Okay. So do you recommend that all of us do install locally instead of working on the one on the VMware?
Your Scala part, I want everyone to install in your local.
Okay.
So JDK 1.7 Scala, this one, and Spark installing in your local. I'm not a big fan of it, and I don't recommend much anyone to install Spark on your Windows machine. So there are ways to install it. But I would recommend you to practice it on your Linux operating system only. So Spark, Hadoop, all these things are developed to work on Linux operating system only. And if you work on that, you will get more feel of doing this. If you install your Spark on local, on your Windows, you can run only in local mode, but not in your pseudo distributed mode where you can have multiple Java threads getting spun and those things. Okay. So I would recommend Spark to be practiced on your Quickstart VM. Okay. Until then, until you complete your Scala portion, so set up everything in your Windows and start practicing only in Windows. And once you are ready for Spark application development, so then do the same thing. Just do your development in your Windows and build a jar. Take that jar onto your Quickstart VM. Submit that jar on your Quickstart VM. Unless until if it is simple practicing in Spark shell. So if it is an application, then submit that in your Quickstart VM, feeling that under the impression that your Quickstart VM is your local, Quickstart VM is your cluster, and you are doing your real development in your local and copying that jar files onto your cluster and executing them on cluster. Okay. So in that, you will get the real feel of like developing on your local and copying those applications onto cluster and executing them on your cluster. Okay. So I have local installation 2 in your Windows laptop. Are we going to see an example for multi-threading? No, I'm not recommending the local setup in Windows. So multi-threading. So that will not take place also, and which is I don't recommend at all that thing. Okay. So treat your Quick Start VM as your cluster and Windows as your local environment where you do your development. Okay. So yeah, so let me suspend this Quick Start VM. I'll show the Eclipse for today, and then we can wrap up for today. Okay, so I downloaded this Scala SDK 4.5, extracted it, and just created a shortcut of this .exe file onto my desktop. So now I can open Eclipse, the shortcut. So if anyone need instructions of installing Scala on Linux also,
Shiva, Vijay?
yes, Vijay.
This one, just now you downloaded this Eclipse.exe and you placed it on the desktop, right?
Yes, I just created a shortcut for that on the desktop.
Yes. So how is this is the same version as the Eclipse that came with the VM?
No, it's not the same version. So in Eclipse, again, I'll make it clear. In Eclipse, there are two types. So Eclipse, you generally download it from your Eclipse downloads page. There you will find Eclipse for JWE, Java Enterprise Edition. So that is something like you will see this kind of symbol. Okay. So where you can develop all your enterprise applications, your Java applications and all those things. There is a plugin for Scala also for this Eclipse, but it has its own issues and it's not functioning, it's not reliable. That is the reason the Scala community recommends you to download IDE, Scala IDE from their site only. So they recommend their own customized Eclipse. Okay, so the Eclipse that you download from Scala IDE site is the customized Eclipse for Scala. Okay, so that is little bit different.
So if we just download that this Eclipse, that should be good enough, right? We don't have to download anything else.
Nothing. Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Otherwise, if you already had a Java Eclipse in your system, you can try installing Scala Scala plugin, but there is no guarantee that that will work without any issues.
As such, we can also use this Eclipse that came with VMware also.
No, that will also work only for Java programs. For Scala projects, you again go to this link and open this URL from that Quick Start VM. So you will get this Linux GDK 64-bit and extract it same like you can see here. So tar.zz file, this one, right? So if you extract, you will exactly find this type of, and you just click on Eclipse icon that you see in that folder.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So this is just a fresh Eclipse, nothing much, not even one project created in this. So just the latest version, Neon, Eclipse Neon, integrated with Scala. So you see these things. So the difference between your Eclipse Java and Eclipse Scala, you'll see a lot of options I'll show you. So that's why I would recommend you to download this Scala IDE. So both these Eclipses are Neon editions only, but still you'll not see the Scala related functionality there. Okay. Okay. By the time it gets opened, just let me. Yeah. So go to File. So by default, it opens up in the Scala mode only. So you can see Scala perspective. So go to New Project. Either you create just to get started with your practicing. Either you first create some simple Scala project. Okay, just go with the default settings. Or I would recommend 1.7. So here you will not get that options as Scala project. Okay. So even if you go for new project, the Scala options, you have Scala plugin installed, but still you have, I was facing some issues. So it's recommended that to go with the Scala IDE, separate IDE. So at least let this get created. So under source, just create a new Scala worksheet for today. Okay. Okay. So in this worksheet, this is same like your shell only, the Scala shell that you have open in your command prompt, and the Scala shell that was open from your Cloudera Quick Start VM. So within the Scala project, I just created a worksheet for you. So worksheet concept is not there even in Java, Dinesh. So this is something that only available in Scala. Okay. So your Java is not a shell-based language where you can execute line by line. But with the help of Scala REPL or Scala shell, you will get the feel of line by line execution in Scala. You can execute them line by line. Okay, so now, so if you just try to execute anything, just the same 2 plus 3. And if you want to execute this piece of code, only just 2 plus 3, I want to get this executed in Scala. Just save this. If you save this entire worksheet, so from top to bottom, each line will get executed and that output will be shown in the comments. Welcome to the Scala worksheet. This println statement has printed it. This result has given in this. But you don't want to execute every line. Just println of hello world. Only this line I want to execute. So go to Scala, run selection in Scala interpreter. You can see here. See, that got executed and the output is being shown on your console, your Scala interpreter. So println statement got executed, hello world. Okay. So 2 star 5 plus 10. So execute this piece of code in your Scala interpreter that got executed, your result is 20. Yes. Okay. So each line by line you can execute in the Scala interpreter, this Scala worksheet. This is very, very advantageous for developers so that you can execute your own piece of code separately and see if that is functioning as you expected. Then you can integrate that into your application. This is very, really very, very helpful if you are coming from Java background. So where in Java, you don't have this facility to execute things on your in your shell. So you have to execute entire your Java application. Whereas here, you can just execute 2-3 lines of code and see the results like a shell. Okay, so this is all for today. So let me stop it here for today, and we'll continue. Yes, I'll give you some POC kind of projects work also to you. So don't worry, I'll give as we progress. So for next session, you have plenty of homework. So all these things need to be set up on your machines. One thing, install JDK. Second, install Scala and install Scala IDE Eclipse 4.5.0, and both from Scala shell and this IDE. So I want you to test whether your installations was successful or not with simple arithmetic operations, whether it's working fine or not. Okay. So just create a project, under that create one worksheet and try executing your statements. So this is one thing. And if you didn't have any quick start VMs, install VMware workstation and load quick start VM. So these four are the assignments for your next session, by your next session. Okay, any confusions? Any questions? So are you guys clear? Yeah, VMware going to slow down your laptop if you turn on that. Okay. So 5 sessions in a week, Subbu. So my Monday through Friday, which means your Sunday night to Thursday night for all NA guys. Okay. Yep. This is your assignment. Okay. So any questions? The next session will be tomorrow. Hey, Nadeep, I put you on mute. Okay. Yeah. So let me wrap up for today. So if you don't have any questions, yep. Thank you, guys. So Manohar, can you ping me on my WhatsApp number? Manohar and Anudeep. Okay. And who else? Manohar, Anadi. And Satish as well. Okay. Satish, can you ping me on my WhatsApp number?
Shiva.
Hive integration will be covered in this, Dinesh, but covering Hive is the out of scope for Spark project. Okay. Yeah. Any question, Jyoti?
Shiva Vijaya.
Yes, Vijay.
This let's say quick start VM is already there on my machine. I can just leave it there and just
Yeah.
install this Scala ID Eclipse 4.5.0. That should be good enough,
That
right?
should be good enough. You guys already have this, right? So no problem. Yeah.
Just directly go and install this in Scala ID Eclipse, right? That should be good.
Yeah, that should be good. Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is that this Google Drive thing, can you send like a full path as you did previously, Shiva? Because I don't have Google account and it's forcing me to log into the Google account in this way.
Yeah, Google Drive it. So you have given me some other alternative Gmail ID, right?
I don't remember, but maybe it should be my husband's then. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but previously, where you gave us a full path and where we don't need to log in through Google account, Shiva. Give the full path.
Okay. No
Right.
problem. I'll give the full path. No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, sorry, Subbu, I lost your question. We'll talk about this tomorrow. Okay. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.